Startup Week 2022 pitch finals in person, and you're going to see some great companies tonight. But first of all, we always got to say thank you to the people who make this week and this event possible, which are our sponsors, including our presenting sponsor, Amazon, title sponsors, Capital One Cafe, Dell for Startups, and the Downtown Denver Partnership. So again, thank you so much for joining us in person. Tonight, you are going to hear from 9 Denver-based startups who advanced through 3 rounds of evaluations by a great group of panelists in our preliminary and semifinalist judges. Each one of them is going to have 7 minutes to pitch, followed by 5-minute Q&A. Our judges are going to take a couple moments to score, and then at the end of the night, we're going to find who walks away with $40,000 in grand prize. But before we kick off, I am going to pass the mic to those who are making this event possible. David Wagner, head of VF Venture Foundry, our sponsor for tonight's program. David?
Good evening, Denver. Good evening. Welcome to the Denver Startup Week Pitch Event Final. It's really excited to be here. As Ben said, my name is David Wagner. I lead VF Venture Foundry. We are the venture studio and early stage investment arm of VF Corporation. If you don't know VF Corporation, we are a Denver headquartered company located just down the street. And we are the owner of some of the biggest apparel and footwear brands in the world. We own brands like Vans, The North Face, Timberland, Dickies, Supreme, and more. And VF Venture Foundry is something that we launched a little over a year ago to really explore and invest in new business models in the outdoor and active wellness space. We are so excited to be here and to be a headline sponsor of Denver Startup Week this year. It's so cool to see the entrepreneurial energy that continues to grow in this city. And what I'd love for us to do for just a moment is to give a round of applause to all the leaders and volunteers of Denver Startup Week. Can we do that? And not that it's needed, but one little extra incentive for tonight's finalists. We're going to throw in a $300 gift card to the North Face just to add to that really terrific prize package available. I also wanted to mention to everybody, for the entrepreneurs in the audience tonight, that we are launching our next Innovation Challenge. So if you were a founder that's focused on physical and mental well-being in the outdoors, we would love to talk to you. Come check out our LinkedIn page, and there's some flyers around the room that give you a little bit more information about us. So thanks again. It's an honor to be here. Really excited about tonight and looking forward to hearing from all the terrific founders. I'm going to hand it back to Ben. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, a round of applause for David and VF Foundry, because again, without them, this wouldn't happen. Well, as David mentioned, the great thing about this entire thing, and there was a number of pitches that came up to it, was all community-led. So if anyone here was involved either as a judge or helping to organize the rest, please put your hands in the air and let's give them a round of applause. So we had 21 community members who volunteered as preliminary and semifinalist judges, and whose names you see on the screen there. We really appreciate all the time they put into it and made this possible. And thanks to the DSW community and all those who voted on the favorite pitches, which helped get our 9 finalists here tonight. So let's move on to what do they win. So let's give a thank you to our prize package contributors: Amazon AWS, Meyer Law, Caruso Ventures, Sticker Giant, Polsinelli, Alibi, Holmes Consulting, Freshworks, Sword & Spark, Full Send Finance, The She-Mark, and Smart Mom Gigs. Thanks to them, we're excited to announce that the grand prize package totals $40,000 in cash, goods, and service. Let's hear it for our donors. All right, last and not least, I want to definitely give a big thank you to Trevor Haig, who really helped pull all this together while wrapping up his degree at DU and starting his master's program this fall. So Trevor, thanks a lot for all your hard work, man. All right, so we're going to get to it because you're not here to hear me speak. So I'm going to introduce our finals judges. Please welcome Kristen Gendron from VF Venture Foundry. Eric Pavelka, Amazon AWS. Amy Brandenburg, Denver Angels. El Bruno, Techstars. Derek Kelsey, Rockies Ventures Fund. And finally, Ayush Jain, Revolution's Rise of the Rest Seed Fund. And here are your 9 finalists. Tonight, you are going to hear from Loyal, Ride IQ, Icony, Practica Studio, Loco Plus, Recycle Global Exchange, Little Sisters Treat, who is the winner of Monday's Youth Pitch Competition, and Imadex, the winner of Tuesday's Health Innovation Pitch Competition. And Mini Money, who is the winner of Tuesday's Equity Pitch Competition. So those are the 3 winners that came through. All right, so today, as I said, tonight we're going to move on here directly from each one of our finalists, followed by Q&A. After we've heard from all 9, we're going to take a little bit to break down the scores and come back with a winner. After the program, we're hoping that you all join us over at X Denver for the Denver Startup Week closing bash, which is going to go until 9 o'clock tonight. All right, so let's get ready and hear from our first finalist, Loyal.
Hey everybody, thank you all for coming. My name is Daniel and we are Loyal. Where are slides, maybe?
We like to throw curveballs.
Cool. Web3 loyalty. Let me start off by asking you all a question. How much would you pay for a beer for life? $200, $2,000, maybe $5,000? What if I told you that Denver Beer Company sold a Beer for Life membership for $9,200? That's crazy, right? Now, what if I told you that that membership was an NFT? Let me tell you another crazy story. Starbucks just last week revamped their $11 billion loyalty program with Web3 and NFTs. It was all over the news. Twitter was blowing up like crazy. This excites the heck out of me, and it should excite you too, because this is exactly what we're doing. Loyal enables brands of all sizes to use Web3-powered memberships and loyalty. And everybody wants in. All of these big brands are trying to build more brand loyalty with their customers using Web3. So why are all these guys doing this? Because loyal, engaged members are exponentially more valuable than regular customers. See, I'm actually a member at X Denver. For those of you that attended the Founders Brunch on Sunday, or Fuck Up Nights last night, you know just how amazing X is. X is a 5-star co-working space that even has a rooftop pool. You see, I don't work for X. I self-promote and bring friends there all the time. Why would I be spending all this time telling you guys all this at an important pitch competition? Because of the referrals and because I am loyal. I am invested in being a part of this exclusive community. Customer loyalty is super difficult. What X did is very, very hard. Consumers are incredibly demanding nowadays. And due to the consistently rising costs of customer acquisition, brands are moving towards memberships and loyalty to increase their customer lifetime value. Loyal makes customer loyalty easy. Using our all-in-one platform, brands can create loyal recurring members, increase their customer lifetime value, and lower their customer acquisition costs with memberships. So we are also an end-to-end solution, enabling businesses to create, manage, and report on their members and memberships. And using our mobile app, brands can redeem, verify, and scan these memberships. So how does our app work? Imagine I'm a business owner and a member walks in my store and shows me their mobile wallet. I will use the Loyal app to scan their wallet, automatically running a quick verification. And if everything checks out, up pops all of their information. From here, I can see what benefits the member gets, log a redemption for their membership, and hand them their free coffee, discounted beer, complimentary tacos, access to the event, or whatever the benefit is. And using our web app, brands can create, manage, and report on their members and memberships. Also, brands can create white label landing pages where customers can easily and quickly purchase these memberships. So unlike all of our competitors, members do not need an additional app on their phone in order to get their membership scanned. Our primary competitor, Hang, raised $16 million 2 months ago from firms like Paradigm and Tiger Global. And unlike all of our competitors, neither offer direct wallet scanning and are not as customizable for small business memberships. We are a B2B SaaS with 4 subscription plans. Higher tiers unlock more features and scale more effectively with more members. Our free plan enables businesses to easily start using memberships free for the first year. Every $1 million in ARR can be accounted for with this very simple formula of us acquiring 1 light user every 3 days, 1 pro every week, and 1 enterprise every 2 months, assuming a 4% churn. Our clients are small to medium-sized businesses in hospitality, sports events, food and beverage, luxury services, and other service industries. Our total addressable market is roughly $30 billion. This is less than half the market size of the collection of industries that we disrupt, like loyalty, memberships, and event ticketing. So in order to reach $250 million in revenue, we need to capture less than 1% of this market. We have a very professionally diverse team. My experience is primarily in other startups like Black Dove. Nick, Shirley, and Christina all have experience at some of the biggest companies in the world, like P&G, IBM, and John Hancock. Our roadmap ultimately leads us to becoming a point-of-sale ecosystem where payments and loyalty are fully integrated into the system. And we are right on the money. We have the right team, the holistic vision, and a clear path to expansion. So the buck stops at the point of sale. Like a very wise man once said, selling NFTs without loyal is like opening a store without a credit card reader. Soon enough, that will be literally true. So are you guys ready to make this happen? My name is Daniel Lowe. I'm the CEO of Loyal. I look forward to being Denver's next unicorn. Thank you. Oh, that's right.
Hi, great presentation. Can you talk briefly about your decision to go end-to-end app versus, API direct to the existing loyalty programs?
That is a good question. I think one part of the answer to that would be that the existing loyalty programs are not Web3 based. I think it'd be a little difficult to create an API for assets that don't exist yet. That'd probably be the main answer I have. I don't have another good answer to that.
All right, thanks.
How you doing, Daniel?
Good.
What chain are you building this on?
Agnostic. We're blockchain agnostic. So you can mint, we can mint on ETH and Polygon right now, but if you brought us Solana, Tezos, or Binance NFTs, we can import them using the smart contracts and enable them to be scanned with user wallets.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Daniel, great job. A lot of the brands that you mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, those large enterprise-level brands, they build their own loyalty and rewards apps. And maybe this ties to what Elle was asking, but how do you see the evolution of the market if Loyal or companies like Loyal end up, bringing a new wave of innovation to the space?
So I don't see Starbucks opening up their loyalty program for small businesses to use. That's why my target market is specifically small to medium-sized businesses. There's no solution right now enabling them to get into this space. Only the big players are able to do it because they can build out, they have the money and time and people to build out the custom products.
Hey, Daniel, thanks for your presentation. What is the most important to your team right now in winning over the next 6 to 12 months to capitalize on all the strategic advantages that you laid out?
It's a mix of sales and product. We are focusing right now both on direct and indirect sales using a partner program. We've come to realize that we have a very long sales cycle. Even if I sit down with the client and we get yeses across the board, there's still a ton of work that needs to be done to get them from a yes at a 0 to executed NFT membership loyalty program. So we're working with agencies, marketing, development agencies, and consultants that already have these relationships with their clients to help us with that. So Nick, I can't go back to the slides right now, but he has experience at Cody, P&G, and Ayr Wellness, like some of these big, like humongous companies doing sales for them. So we recently brought him on board to help us with not only with that partner program, but also direct sales and trying to shorten that sales cycle.
Thinking about scalability with you mentioned 1 pro per week, I think.
Yes.
So what's the next level to get them, what makes them want to jump to the next level, I guess, as far as feature functionality, and how can you grow those enterprise accounts over time?
That's a good question. Scale to us, is the name of the game. I also didn't mention in our pricing that we do have a component to kind of account for the scale of different businesses. So even if they are on a pro and may account for whatever those 1/51th of ARR, they could kind of exceed the average use of the platform, and therefore they'd be paying us more. They'd also be making more money because they're selling more. So we do have a pricing model to kind of account for that. But ultimately, if they'd have to jump from, say, between like 250 and like 500 to like 1,000 members to like 2,500 or more in order to really justify like the next tier upgrade. Cool.
All right, let's hear it for Loyal. Great job, Daniel.
Thank you.
Up next, Ride IQ.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, could have been better.
Good to go? Hello, everyone. My name is Jessa Lux, and this is my sister and co-founder, Kinsey Lux. We've all been there. We have a hobby, and we're excited to get better. Imagine that your hobby is gymnastics. You've nailed somersaults, and now you have an aspiration to do a flip. You decide to teach yourself. You go to the gymnasium every day to practice, but you don't really know what to practice to take you from somersaults to flips. And even if you did, you don't understand the intricacies of the skills you'd need to work on to get there. You'd likely get frustrated, and you might even get hurt. Believe it or not, this is the status quo approach to training for horseback riders. They get on their horse, and they don't have a plan, or they're going to try something they don't really understand, and they're going to end the day disappointed. Or even worse, lying flat on their face, watching their horse gallop back to the barn without them. I'm speaking from experience on that one. If only they had a coach with them to tell them what to do and how to do it.
That's why we created Ride IQ. Ride IQ is a mobile app with listen while you ride audio lessons for horseback riders taught by the world's best equestrian coaches.
We have an Olympic caliber team behind Ride IQ, even though only one of us is technically an Olympian. Kinsey and I were both upper-level competitive equestrians, but outside of that, we have very different skill sets. Kinsey has a background in finance and most recently worked at Blackstone in New York City, and I have a background in community building and marketing. Our third partner is Kyle Carter. You guessed it, he's the Olympian. He's a Canadian Olympic event rider and our former coach, and he's the reason we've been able to recruit coaches of the highest caliber to the Ride IQ coaching team. What we know as riders ourselves and through lots of conversations with other riders is that independent training is very inefficient and even unenjoyable, and it happens a lot.
All riders, regardless of level or age, struggle with independent schooling. Some of the major pitfalls of independent schooling rides includes it lacks focus and direction. It results in unrealized potential, and it can increase the potential for injury for both horse and rider.
It's a massive problem when you consider that 7 million people are riding 4 to 5 times per week, and 80% of those rides have the shortcomings that Kinsey just mentioned. That's over 22 million rides every week. Given the amount of time and money and emotions that people dedicate to their horses and to equestrian sports, it does not make sense that the majority of rides have such serious deficiencies.
I'm sure you're asking yourself, why do people ride alone so often? And it really boils down to 3 main reasons. In-person lessons are very expensive, and a lot of people have to trailer an hour or more to see their in-person coach. And lastly, coaches have a limited amount of availability, so they can only maybe give 3 or 4 lessons in a day. But we have a solution for that. With Ride IQ, we are able to improve independent rides by offering step-by-step guidance from the best coaches in the world.
And it's working. Over the last year of its existence, Ride IQ has organically grown to over 1,300 paying members. Our conversion rate from free trial to paying member is over 80%. Our retention rate over the past 13 months is 59%. If you're familiar with subscription-based mobile apps, you know that these numbers are practically unheard of. Retention rates average in the single digits over just the first 30 days across almost every category. And
So how does this work? The Ride IQ app, you open it and you can browse through a library of lessons. Once you've picked your lesson, you tack up and press play, and you have an incredible coach guiding you through every step and sharing their insights. This is an opportunity for aha moments and to really have to develop with your horse. Now, we are patent pending on Listen While You Ride audio lessons for equestrians.
Ride IQ membership is $29.99 per month or $249 for the year, and that gives our members unlimited access to a library of over 300 audio lessons at the moment that span across different levels and cover nearly every skill within the disciplines that we currently cover. And disciplines are just different types of equestrian sports. Our feedback from members, this is what I missed on the last slide, our feedback from members has been exceptional so far. So I encourage you to look up reviews of Ride IQ in the App Store or on social media because they're glowing. But what we hear over and over from members is that Ride IQ is absolutely a game changer for them, and their horses are performing better than ever. And horses performing better than ever equals really happy riders too. Doug Payne was the top-placed US event rider at the Tokyo Olympics last year, and he said that Ride IQ is the most productive and effective learning tool that he has seen yet. So our coaches are all of the caliber of Serena Williams. They are celebrities within the equestrian community. And we have 21 coaches, 6 of them are Olympians, and 1 even has an Olympic gold medal. They all also meet criteria that are in line with our company values and in line with what we've heard from members makes for the best experiences for them.
So a lot of people don't understand the global scale and significance of the equine industry. The annual economic impact is estimated to be nearly $200 billion, and that's billion with a B, and that's also excluding horse racing. We've only scratched the surface of this incredibly valuable market, and with our conversion rate, we are in the position to have exponential growth. Our current target demographic is adult amateurs ranging from 28 to 50 years old across 5 disciplines who live in North America. This is a small subset of the broader equestrian community that we plan to address with Ride IQ. We are currently focused on the equestrian market, but we also are aware of the potential growth that would come with us expanding this concept across other sports. And we've even had people reach out to us requesting that we do so. So before we wrap up, here's a chart of our user growth and ARR to date. At our current growth rate, we will reach over $1 million in ARR in the coming 12 months.
And I just want to point out our current ARR is $365,000, and everything that we've accomplished to date has been accomplished without any outside investment. So Ride IQ is making it possible for people to get real-time instruction from the most accomplished and capable coaches in the world and giving access to that to everyone, not just the equestrian elite or prodigies. And that's an opportunity that has never existed before. It benefits the athletes, both horses and riders, and it benefits the sports as a whole. We are on a mission with Ride IQ to elevate partnerships and performances in equestrian sports in a really big and impactful way, and to change the game for coaches by offering financial freedom that these sports have never supported before. Thank you all so much for your time, and thank you to the volunteers and sponsors that make Denver Startup Week happen. We are so honored to be a part of it, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Hey there, great job, and love that you already have traction in terms of members and revenue. Very curious as to, what does the next 6 to 12 months, some of your question earlier, what does the next 6 to 12 months look like for you? And yeah, what would you want to do with additional investment?
Yeah, I love that question. So really our growth right now is limited by our capacity. So we would like to grow our team, and our next hire would be a mid-level marketer who could put some systems in place, especially within email marketing and Facebook advertising, so that we can attract leads and then nurture those leads. So Kinsey and I are doing a lot on a day-to-day basis that keeps the business running, and I think we can credit our retention to the things that we are doing on a day-to-day basis, but also just based on the number of hours in a day, it holds us back a bit.
I'll just add to that we also, in the next 2 months, are releasing an entirely overhaul of our app for user experience optimization, which we're really excited about. And then we also are in contact, or we have a liaison in the UK who is going to help us expand to the UK market and really appeal. We're not really geographically specific, but we want to make sure that when we have a launch in a different geography, that we are purposely making content for that audience. And so that's what we're really focusing on this year.
Excellent pitch. I
Thank
loved every
you.
second of it. But on that note, I was going to ask, can you dive into some detail around the current acquisition strategy?
Yeah, so it's been largely organic. The equestrian market has word of mouth that's working in our favor just because it's a smaller community. Some efforts that we've made include, things that we see really attracting members are things like blog posts we're not paying for, but people writing reviews and blog posts. And if that's a trusted author, that drives some new members for us. We also have a public podcast called In Stride that it's not promoting us, but it's gotten us some great brand recognition. So as people get curious about Ride IQ, and because Ride IQ is a brand new concept in this space, that's what happens. They get curious, and finally they meet someone or hear from someone who's interviewed on a podcast or on our podcast that gets them to take the plunge. And like I said, once they start their free trial, we feel great because then we're over 80% of those people become paying members.
Great presentation. As you seek to grow the company and serve those 7 million riders, it seems like a big part of your sell to your members is the amazing coaches, the Olympians, that kind of thing. Do you anticipate running into a supply side constraint with your coaches as you try to scale up, and how do you anticipate handling that?
That's a great question. Our goal is not quantity of coaches. Our goal is quality of coaches while covering a range of learning styles. So I mentioned disciplines. The different sports are things like dressage or eventing, and we aim to have 5 coaches within each discipline. They're all, meet the criteria that I mentioned, but some of them have a softer approach. They're great for younger riders, or beginner riders, and some of them just get right to work, and that appeals to people. So we want to have 5 coaches within each discipline so people can get to know the coach, and so those coaches produce enough content that if you fall in love with the coach, you have a ton of other lessons that you can choose from. You're not on your own after you've taken 1 or 2.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good.
I'm a novice to this, and so I just have some questions based on. So if I've never ridden a horse before, how do I use your app? Do I need a coach first? Do I need to buy a horse? Do I need to rent some time on a horse? Kind of walk me through that a little bit.
It's a great question. And while we would love to have you as a Ride IQ member, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you ride alone on your first time on a horse. So this is kind of the type of thing where you have a horse, you know what you're doing as far as like tacking them up and getting on, and you are just looking for direction once you're in the saddle. So it is you in a year.
Okay. Me in 6 months. I'm really confident.
Yeah, you're great.
Hi, thank you, and congratulations on your attraction to date.
Thank you.
You mentioned a little bit about the expansion opportunities into other sports. Can you talk a little bit more about where you see those opportunities, how important those are to you, and then also how you replicate the advantage that you have in the network that you come from in getting content for those other channels? Thanks.
You want to start?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. And the people who have reached out to us specifically one was a mom who has a daughter who's in fencing, and she was like, this exists in fencing too, where the highest quality coaches exist in in specific geographical areas, and remote learning would be really beneficial. Lacrosse as well, because lacrosse is a really popular sport, but it can be a little bit of a barrier to entry as far as economics go. So while Jess and I are not experts in fencing or lacrosse or golf or snowboarding, we would need to
A lot of sports
a
we're
lot
not
of sports
experts in.
besides riding. We would plan to basically hire our counterparts for those sports to help us do that kind of growth. We wouldn't expect to do that on our own because it does, as you said, it does kind of require that really in-depth knowledge of the sport you're dealing with in order to have the kind of traction that we've experienced with Ride IQ.
If I could add just a note on that, one thing that's really important to our current model is our community. We have a super active online community that we didn't foresee ahead of Ride IQ, but it happened, and now it's one of the most special parts of what we're doing, and we're catering to an independent sport, so it just helps people with feeling alone or isolated in the sport. So when we expand to different sports, it will involve a very active community.
All right, let's hear it for Ride IQ.
Thank you, guys.
All right, as our judges are getting the score down, up next we have Iconi.
Hi, my name is Angel Johnson, and I'm the CEO and founder of Iconi. Thank you for having me pitch today. So who are we? I am a graduate of the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. I was one of the first 100 black women to graduate from the college. Immediately upon graduation, I commissioned into the Air Force, where I served in many different assignments, including Afghanistan, Kuwait, and Qatar. And lastly, my last assignment was at Buckley Air Force Base in Colorado. I started Iconi in 2019 after going to a military gym and experiencing the most embarrassing moment. One of my friends, a fellow captain, came up to me and said, "I don't know what type of leggings those are, but I can see everything." So that created the photo right in the middle, and that launched Iconi. I actually created the drawing for Iconi at 1 a.m. on a long night shift. Since then, Iconi has become a motivational and inclusive activewear line that provides confidence and community to our customers while donating 10% of our profits to nonprofit organizations in the Denver metro area. So the buzz about Iconi, in our first year in business, we had great success. We got into Oprah's Favorite Things 2020, and since then, we've been in Shape Magazine, Cosmopolitan, Women's Health, and Denver's own 303 Magazine. And lastly, you may have seen us on Thursday Night Football. We were actually in a commercial produced by our partners at Amazon for Thursday Night Football for NFL on Prime. Our notable collaborations include, we are the official activewear of the Miss Black USA pageant, we are the official activewear of the Lab Beach Volleyball Club, and currently we're in Amazon's Black Business Accelerator. So the activewear market is rapidly growing. It's a $346 billion market that continues to grow rapidly year over year with a 21% increase. 36% of that growth is from North America alone. And one unique thing about the activewear space is that it's a segmented market with many players in the market, but they all manage to be profitable. Our current goal is to capture 0.05% of the market, which is a $173 million valuation. So why Iconi? One, motivation. We provide motivational activewear. Our logo stands for strength, power, and versatility, and our name stands for I can overcome, nothing's impossible. Inclusion. While many activewear companies stop at extra large, our activewear goes to 4X large because everyone deserves activewear no matter where they are on their fitness journey. Give back. We give back 10% of our profits to nonprofit organizations. To date, we've been able to donate over $37,000 to 9 nonprofit organizations. Sustainability. Our current goal is to eliminate all single-use plastics and have 70% of recycled material in all our clothing by the end of 2023. Fashion forwardness. We want our customers to feel like they're in the runway when they go to the gym. So we use the Worth Global System Network, a forecasting and trend agency, consumer agency, to predict the latest trends. And then lastly, we put tech into our activewear. What does that mean, fabric tech? So we actually use proprietary technology to reduce smell in our clothing, to bring down your body temperature, and to contour your body without seaming. So the state of our business, currently we're direct to consumer. 40% of our sales go through Amazon and 60% go through our website. Our team operates off a shared vision and collaboration. We have mentors. I'm currently in Entrepreneurship for All Accelerator program where I have a mentor, 3 mentors to be exact. We have an Amazon account manager, a diverse group of models, photographers, and manufacturers. I consider our manufacturers our team because I know Audrina and Kelly personally, and I want them to tell me when something is wrong and not manufacture it and send it to our customers the wrong way. One thing I like to say about Iconi is I get to work with all these people. I don't have to work with all these people. They share my vision, and I'm so proud of it. So our optimal growth plan, I'm currently raising $300,000. One, this would allow me to execute a full marketing advertisement campaign on Google, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, where our customer segment lives. We would bring on the leadership team with our chief operations officer coming from a government agency where we work together on national operations, and then our chief marketing officer who was a marketing director at one of the largest activewear companies in Brazil. We would then hire 1 full-time employee to do fulfillment because we like to say at Iconi, we're bringing empowerment to you wherever you are, and we want to do that in a fast time frame. And then lastly, it would allow us to produce the Spring-Summer 2023 collection with fabric technology, and you can see that very fun color palette. Thank you for allowing me to pitch today, and remember, Iconi is bringing empowerment to you wherever you are.
I can start. Great job. Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you solved the problem that you identified at the beginning? How did you make the fabrics and the technologies that make this a little bit more versatile fabric for an inclusive audience?
So the first thing is we started with the bare legging. So, hey, what do we want to have in every type of our legging? And one of the key components was it has to be squat proof. So we test our leggings on a variety of different body types in a variety of different environments to make sure they're squat proof. And then inclusiveness. I actually had plus size women help me because I didn't want to say, hey, I'm a size medium and I can develop for you. So we have so much going on into the testing process because we're a small company. We want to get it right the first time for people. We know it's going to take everything to get it right and making sure we can build that brand loyalty.
Hey, how you doing, Angel?
Pretty good.
Is your activewear women only or for men and women?
It's for men and women and non-binary people.
Okay. And based on your sales right now, do you have a sense of which one you're trending to sell more to?
We're trending more towards women. Our primary customer segment is women ages 22 through 35.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service. Question on price point. I might have missed that, but can you speak to the price point a bit and then also your margins?
So our price point is between $45 to $55 for leggings. So it'll go up based on a premium collection. And then our sports bras range between $20 to $25. So our current margins on leggings are around 77%. And then our current margins on sports bras are about 64%.
Okay. And sorry, one more quick question. Who do you view as your biggest competition?
There's so many players in the activewear market. So currently in Denver, at least, I view Lululemon as one of the main competitors because even though they're a much larger brand and don't know who Iconi is, it's the culture around Lululemon, and I'm trying to build a culture around my customers so they're not just buying a product, they're buying into the brand in the community.
So you mentioned you're looking to raise $300,000, and you're hoping to accomplish a lot with that. How long of a runway do you think that gives the company, and when's the next time you're going to raise, and how much do you think you'll need then?
So I think this gives the company a runway for at least a year and a half. We run a very lean business model, so we keep operating expenses as low as possible. I literally didn't move into an office until May of this year, so I was packing leggings out of my kitchen. I think this would give us enough runway for a year and a half. And then I would want to raise $550,000. This would allow us to bring on additional team members and accelerate the process.
I love your mission to give back to the local community and the 10%, and would love just hear more why you picked that. And then also, I love your big vision for this company. And in a perfect world, 2 years from now, where would you love to see Iconi at? Is it global? Is it more products here within the U.S.? Just tell us more about your vision for down the road.
So my mom always raised me that despite what we have or what little we have, we make sure we give back to people. So that's been ingrained in me. So I knew I wanted to donate. I saw during the pandemic, Close to Kids of Denver is one of the organizations I volunteer at. We saw when kids didn't have good clothing to go to school, their grades dropped, their attendance dropped. So I knew I wanted to do something to help. So as these organizations reach out to me, I know that I have to keep a mission base because it's so important to me, and I think it's so important to the brand and the customers. In 2 years, I see Iconi having a staff of 10 people, grossing over $1.5 million in sales. And then I would like to be able to have different pop-up locations. I'm not interested in a flagship store or a permanent location, but I would like to have pop-up locations in our different big centers like Denver, Colorado.
This is a non-biased question. I am from Amazon, but not this part, not your part of the business. I am interested to go on to what you just stated. What do you think of your future distribution strategy? You just mentioned a little bit of offline stuff. You have 60% direct via your site, 40% via Amazon. How do you see that changing over time? What would you really like to have that be?
I'm actually okay with the 60-40 split. I always, no matter my growth plan for Iconi.com and Iconi the vision, I do want to keep the strategic partnership with Amazon. It's meant a lot to me that Amazon has invested so much into my business, and I want to continue that partnership.
All right, let's hear it for
Thank you.
Iconi. All right, let's welcome Practica Studio.
I want to take all of us back to 2009. I'm a sophomore at Colorado State University in beautiful Fort Collins. On a beautiful September day, probably just like this, I had to pick up my phone and call my dad to tell him I thought I was going to fail organic chemistry. I told him, Dad, I am trying, I am studying, I am putting in the hours, and it is not clicking. To say the least, he was upset, because you see, my dad's an organic chemistry professor. Luckily for me, my dad became my personal tutor, helped me see it in a different way, and it changed something that was terrifying into something that I loved. Fast forward a decade, I went to DU to get my MBA. Hi, guys. And that gave me the opportunity to talk to more undergrads. And I was shocked to find out over the last 10 years, these students still face the same problem with the same antiquated resources. STEM majors have the highest drop rate of any other major. They are twice as likely to leave their field. And that causes a major problem for everyone. The US will need 1 million more professionals by 2025 than will graduate in the STEM professions. This journey inspired us to create a better study tool to help students learn and build their confidence and mental well-being. Because let's face it, not everyone has a dad for a professor. So we were inspired to create Practica. It is an online, gamified study platform for college students. This helps them learn more in less time and building their confidence. So how does it work? We've designed our content broken out so it's a choose-your-own adventure for our students. They're able to pick exactly what they would like to study. We have interactive problem sets to increase engagement. We have features like hints so students continue to learn. And if a student gets a question wrong, we give them immediate feedback to ensure understanding. We break down complex processes into bite-sized, step-by-step questions. This helps students focus on critical thinking over memorization. And we add a little humor in there to help increase engagement as they're going through the process. Now, I'm sure many of you did not take organic chemistry, and some of you did not major in STEM. But I want you to think about a time that you really struggled in a class. How did that affect your confidence in yourself? How did that affect your ability for future opportunities? Well, at Practica, we give students the opportunity to be academically successful so that they can shape their own future. We're not a homework, we're not a quiz. Practica is different because we source original content so that we can give students guided learning and immediate feedback in a gamified platform to ensure they understand, learn the material, and ace the test. And great news, it is live. We launched our MVP September 1st. We have users in the platform. Just last Monday, we went down to Metro State and pitched to 2 organic chemistry classes. 1/3 of those students created an account, and even more, they signed up for a 60-minute user interview and demo because they saw the value of what this tool could bring them. We have engaged our users throughout the entire process. They are so excited, and they show us that they love this platform with their most valuable commodity, time. We have users coming back for second, third, fourth round demos, even if they took OChem 2 years ago. They love this solution. We have users reaching out to us asking when we're going to release new content for the classes they're about to take. But that is just the beginning. Today, we are focused on our beta users and getting our first paying customer by the end of the semester. But we have a 3-year plan to build the team and software we will need to move to computer-generated content. This will allow us to scale our course offerings and content and be able to reach more people. If we can reach 27,000 customers in year 3, that'd be $4 million in annual revenue, and then we can scale and explore courses in physics, calculus, and maybe even accounting one day. Today, we are a team with a dream, but we have the skills to be successful. Corey is a full-stack engineer who has experience in enterprise web applications. I'm Sam, and I'm a science nerd stuck in a salesperson body. But I love these users and working with them and designing a product that they want and will buy. 3 things you need to know about us. Number 1, Corey and I make a great team. We've known each other for over 10 years. I actually introduced him to his wife, so a lot of trust. Number 2, we are resource magnets. We have been able to develop our MVP with using very little capital. And number 3, we are passionate about solving this problem. So that's why we need you today. This cash prize will help us deliver the content we need to find product market fit and gain more users. This will be critical as we look to raise capital in 2023 to build the AI capabilities we envision. And for those in the stands, if you're interested in learning more about Practica, scan this QR code and help us achieve our mission to empower students to master the hardest college courses so that they have the confidence to tackle the world's greatest challenges in the future. Corey?
Great job, thank you. Can you speak a little bit to the competitive landscape that you see in this market?
Absolutely. Let's go back. So evaluating the competitive landscape, what we see is that there's these broad buckets. Online study tools like Quizlet and Chegg. You have digital homework sites that are linked to textbooks, and then video sites as well, YouTube, Khan Academy. And what we have really found in these broad categories is that a lot of these resources are designed with the professor or the institution's problems in mind. Very few of them have focused on the learning abilities and providing students a learning opportunity.
Hi, thanks for your presentation. You talk a little bit about exploring your go-to-market strategy in the road ahead. Can you share a little bit more about what you've tried, what you're going to try, what intervention points you think might make the most sense?
Sure, yeah. So we've gone through many iterations of the app. It originally started out as a game-based learning app, where it was like you're fighting Dr. Evil. We found that students really just want to learn, and they want the broccoli, right? They don't want the cheese on the broccoli. And so we pivoted, just gave them the bare bones content. We originally started with thinking it was going to be a mobile app, but we found students actually take their phones and put it in another room when they study. So we pivoted more towards a web application. And I think that's about it, yeah.
As a former STEM major, this gave me PTSD I didn't know I had.
Yeah.
So I absolutely would have used this. I think it's great. I have two quick questions related. First one is, why direct-to-consumer and not selling to universities for their students? And then the other is, in the direct-to-consumer model, what do you anticipate kind of the churn being and the lifetime value of a customer? I imagine they won't use it for the whole year. So how do you think about that?
Absolutely. So our first assumption is that we would have a B2B model to the universities. Surprise, a little tough to find the purse strings there. We think there is opportunity to a B2B model once we can prove the effectiveness, and as colleges start to look at students as more of a commodity. So that was the first question. Second question, lifetime value, right? So you're right, actually we expect that most users will only pay for 10 months out of the year because they don't need this study tool when they're at the pool, right? Then we also did forecast that if we can develop the curriculum for their first 2 years, really, that their lifetime value would be 300. And then as we expand, it'll incrementally grow by 150, all the way up to when pre-health students are taking the MCAT.
Great job. So I was not a STEM major, so this is maybe a silly question, but how does the curriculum work? Is it standard across all universities, or is there some integration required with your curriculum into theirs?
Sure, yeah. So with STEM and a lot of those science classes, you're dealing with the laws of physics and certain phenomena. So across universities, they're just taught in different forms and at different times. But it's the same content. So we've worked with professors at Metro and DU. We've got their syllabuses, and we've really matched that up, along with like ACS, the American Chemical Society. They have a syllabus that we've been really aligning towards.
How you doing?
Hi.
So for your next class offering, how long would it take to spin that up, and how many professors would you need to talk to, and would you do the same as far as talking to folks at Metro, or would you expand the colleges and the professors you ever talk to build out that next class?
Absolutely. What we have found over the last year, our biggest challenge is sourcing content. But we have found someone who's great, had a life crisis and decided not to go to medical school, so she's on our team. So we think we could spin up OChem 2, Gen Chem, and maybe General Chemistry 2 within the next year using her resources. I think we've been very successful leveraging professor networks at University of Denver and Metro State, but I think it would also be time to start expanding to the larger universities in Colorado, as well as start exploring SEO operations to make it a broader offering to the American public.
Let's give it up for Practica Studio. Please welcome Loco Plus. Eventually. There we go.
Go back. Good evening, Denver. So, I hear George Lucas has a new tie to the city. And I'm not talking about the Broncos. I'm actually talking about Loco Plus, the first streaming platform for local filmmakers, content creators, and music artists to launch and grow and own. Hi, I'm Kate Atwood. I am co-founder and CEO of Loco Plus. I'll share a little bit more about me in a moment, but first, back to George. My co-founding partner, the Chief Creative Officer of Loco Plus, and Denver's own Megan Matashek worked for Lucasfilm and Disney, launching her career in film fully inspired by the creative maverick himself. Nearly a decade later, with 5 Star Wars credits to her name, she left Disney to build her own career in film. Unfortunately, she quickly ran up against a huge problem. See, an enormous shift was happening at the time that we're now fully aware of with the move of film and TV to streaming, and it wasn't going to benefit her, even with those credits to her name. See, since the arrival of digital content streaming and social media, the industry has built an infrastructure around the concept that local didn't matter. This shift has impacted all sides of the industry. Creators are frustrated, consumers are dissatisfied. In fact, more than 60% of audiences say that they are paying for content that is irrelevant to them. And the industry is left without a pipeline. They tried to convince us that local is dead. It's not dead, it just hasn't evolved to meet the moment, until now. That's why we're building Loco Plus, the first streaming platform for local filmmakers, content creators, and music artists to launch and grow. We level up emerging content creators from social media platforms and provide them with a premium networked experience, while offering audiences the opportunity to stream local independent content in one place. Here's how it works. First, creators submit a sample of their content through our proprietary submission tool. This is our quality control. Once they are accepted, they can set up their channel network and begin to be streamed as a part of the network. In the back-end creator studio, the creators manage their publishing, their earnings, and their audience data. They also have the opportunity to collaborate with other creators, fostering a culture of growth while they build their experience on Loco Plus. Next, they turn on the monetization tools. Our first features are paywall and ticketing for online and offline experiences, because after all, that's what local is all about. Our geolocation filter allows creators to have a local market advantage as they launch and grow. How novel of an idea is that? We create that for all other entrepreneurs, and now we're creating it for content creators. This feature also allows audiences the first opportunity to filter their content by place. We launched a pilot in Atlanta, and we saw incredible early growth. We also learned a lot. Most significantly, we pivoted from our version 1 of our platform, which was a subscription model, to the version 2 of our platform, which was a creator earnings model. We built the team and the tools, and we are so excited that we launched our version 2 of our platform just a month ago. We're now ready to launch in Denver. As a first to market in local, we sit on top of an enormous market opportunity. Content creation is one of the fastest growing small business segments around the globe. Loco Plus uniquely sits in between the creator economy market and the OTT market, 2 markets that have projected double-digit compound growth over the next decade. In fact, the OTT market is projected to reach $1 trillion by 2027. Let's just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. How are we going to win creators from YouTube and TikTok? We win by activating local creator economies. We stand on our pillars of ownership and transparency, not just of IP and of earnings, but of audience data. We promote community over competition, allowing creators to collaborate and come together through creator meetups, both on Zoom and in real life. And we offer a local gateway to global growth. Our revenue model is simple. We don't charge for creators who are accepted onto the platform to publish, and we don't pay for content either. We simply take 20% of creator earnings through our monetization tools. Now, I could put up a graph here that shows our projected financial model reaching $10 million in 3 years. But I really want to break this down in a realistic way, the same way we do with our creators with the 1,000 fan rule. Logo Plus reaches $1 million with 100 creators earning $50 from 1,000 fans. This, by the way, puts $4 million back into the hands of local content creators. Our mission is focused on activating local creator economies, but our vision is on Web3. We are positioned to be a leading distribution system for emerging content in Web3, and we're excited to reach that vision. And here is the dream team to do it. We uniquely combine community and economic development. I'm a two-time founder that launched the first city-based platform for the city of Atlanta. Megan is our industry expert. We also have our head of product, James Malone, who has built consumer apps that have generated over $3 million in revenue. And our head of creator equity, Nisha Nice, who is not only a successful creator herself, she is the force behind our brand and the voice of our creators. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. Megan set out to be like George. And instead, she took the bigger opportunity to create for millions of others to have a path for success. We are so excited to pitch here tonight in Denver. We hope that you see that the opportunity is to build the next unicorn in media, tech, entertainment with Logo Plus. Thank you. I love it. They call it liquid death. Sorry. Thank you.
How are you doing, Kate? You mentioned that you pivoted from a subscription model to the creator economy model.
Yes.
What went into that decision?
It became clear early on that the subscription obstructed discoverability for the creators. So we were following the trend of being the hybrid toward the streaming platforms. And we made that decision at the top of the year, and now that we see the headlines that we do with subscriber churn and Netflix and everything that's kind of foiling around that, I feel like we made the right move.
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
Can you say a little bit more about the discovery process for the users? I think the creator value proposition is really clear. If I'm just logging on to Logo Plus, how do I find the right things that interest me beyond my geography?
Sure, so you can still, the content is still curated by categories of film, shows, and music. So you can still find, much like you would on Netflix or Hulu, find content from that user experience. We have a discovery page that's a heat map that allows you to zoom in on the geolocation that you want to find those creators. Then perpetuating more of a engagement that's a premium engagement for offline.
Great, thanks. And quick clarifier on that.
Yeah.
So when I'm kind of scrolling through that experience, I'm paying kind of for each individual piece of content, or?
Some you won't have to pay for.
Okay.
It's really up to the creator, but a lot of the films, the short films, are behind a paywall. We're seeing the music artists use it more as, you can watch the video, but we're gonna get you to our concert on Friday night through ticketing. So we have mapped IP journeys for each of our our creators, and that's how we really help them strategize, help them level up around ownership, so they can see the different ways that they can build audience and make money.
That's really helpful, thanks.
Really interesting concept here. I can really understand the value on the creator side for sure. I'm curious on the end consumer side of it for film, shows, and music. How have you learned that localization is really critical to those customers?
So I can answer that in two ways. The first is, if you just look at short films as a concept piece for a creator that has no value in the market, and there's really no platform where it can generate that value. We see a lot of short films come on our platform. That becomes a starter piece where they can earn money and then work to develop larger pieces of content. So, all the research shows that even in the digital world, patrons and investors prefer to support local artists and local entrepreneurs. And we're seeing the same behavior happen with content creators. So it is somewhat of that psychology and that behavior. The second way I would answer that from a user's standpoint is if you're going to a new city, right? We've lost this idea that culturally relevant, irreverent content, combined in a place can really be the storytelling of that place. And that's what I learned when I was working in economic development in Atlanta. That young people, especially the younger generations who haven't had local as a medium to consume content, are struggling to find ways to connect to their community. So this is a way that organically brings these entrepreneurs and these consumers together to grow together.
Whether it's the use of the funds from this competition tonight or your next raise, what are your plans for the use of funds here in the next 12 months? And what are your greatest needs for that funding?
Yeah, thank you so much. We are in the middle of a pre-seed raise right now, and we still have room in that. And right now with the platform, it comes down to team. So our largest expenses will be the growth of the team as we expand to other markets. If you saw on that traction slide, we already have interest from cities, from other cities that we are advancing. So it's team growth and hosting. So AWS, proud to host our platform on, on the services. But that as we build the content and the catalog, those will be our largest expenses. But extremely capital efficient. And over the next 12 months, we fully plan to be in at least the 16 largest metro regions, if not expanding beyond those.
Let's hear it for Local Plus.
Yeah. Oh. I have the doom of cotton mouth. I'm so sorry.
Let's welcome Recycle Global Exchange.
So e-waste is a rapidly growing problem. It is actually the fastest growing waste stream in the world. In 2021, there was over 57 million metric tons generated. And that amount is estimated to raise to 74 million metric tons by 2030. Less than 20% is responsibly recycled. The remaining 80% either ends up in a landfill or is shipped overseas and is not responsibly recycled. E-waste poses a danger to workers' health. It can contaminate our soil and our groundwater. Plus, over $50 billion of e-waste is trashed or burned rather than returned to manufacture. We can do better. My name is Kimberly Roy, and I'm the Vice President of Strategy and Development at Recycle Global Exchange. We go by RGX. Our CEO and COO are actually at our industry's biggest conference right now in New Orleans. So this is my first time taking the pitch stage. So for nearly 2 decades, our co-founders, Sean Miles and Paul Logston, have worked in the teleco and telecom space, working with e-waste and IT asset disposition which is known as ITAD. Sean focused on working with customers, while Paul worked with vendors on designing disposal solutions. Together, they identified inefficiencies on both sides of the marketplace. You see, on the vendor side, it's fragmented. Less than 5% of the market share is held by 3 big companies, and they have very limited coverage. The remaining 95% of the market is small vendors. These are little mom and pop vendor shops, but they've put the money and investments into equipment, and they've also spent time and money on obtaining and maintaining industry certifications, which attest to their ability to responsibly recycle electronics. But even making those investments, they're unable to contract with the local corporations. On the customer side, they rely on manual processes in order to compensate for a disconnected internal operating systems. In order to manage these processes, they work with a limited number of vendors that have very limited coverage, and they're shipping their e-waste across country, often driving right by a local solution. We knew there was a way to do better. So with our hands-on experience and research, RGX created the first IT asset disposition platform that is completely agnostic. Designed to be integrated, we enhance rather than replace what is already working. RGX onboards and manages vendors, and we track their certifications, their geographic coverage, their expertise, and their abilities. When companies onboard RGX, they onboard all of our vendors. They can access any vendor no matter where they are in the country. This enables them to find the right vendor for each job and each load of equipment, one that will match the expertise needed for their equipment and is geographically located near them. Through the platform, customers and vendors can manage their project, compliance documents, and financial records all in one location. And through our automation, we are improving ROI in 3 key areas. First, we have competitive bidding. So that returns the price that companies are receiving for their e-waste. Second, the shipping reduction. There's a lot of money that they spend shipping that equipment across country. And third, resource management. Their team replaces manual processes with our automated process, so their team can do more with less staff. In addition to receiving a fee for transactions that are on the platform, we also earn funds for tech services, events, and account management. Now let me share a story with you of how our model does, Let me share a story with you of our Do Better model in action. So we had, starting last year, a contract with the top tier 1 teleco carrier. And as a demonstration project, we managed 2 loads of equipment coming from Colorado. For the first load, we shipped the equipment from Aurora, Colorado, down to Austin, Texas. For the second load, they allowed us to use our model, and we put the equipment on our platform, and local vendors in Colorado were able to bid, and a Westminster vendor won the bid. This reduced shipping by over 800 miles, and a small local vendor who was doing it right had the capability and the opportunity to show what they can do to a large corporation. This is our do better mentality in action. Based on our pilot data for the first and second quarter of 2022, we reduced the shipping miles and emissions for this one carrier by 76%. So RGX, we're starting to gain traction on both sides of the market. We have vendors who are eager to onboard across the country, and you can see our national coverage to date. And we have companies that are joining our pipeline, other telecos and large corporations. Our environmental focus and our focus on reducing shipping aligns with environmental, social, and governance metrics, which is a key priority for our corporate clients. Our $1 million capital raise will go towards the investments that we need to keep pace with the opportunities. And I will just end on this with, with timing and the right team, we are poised to do better for our environment, for local economies, and for business ROI. Thank you. And I'd like to bring up our fractional CFO, Tom Brook, for Q&A.
Super interesting market. I had 4 different business ideas come through my head as we were walking through it. Just, gosh. What do you think is going to be harder for you as you grow this out in terms of the two-sided marketplace? Is it is it getting those telcos and others that are producing this to get on board, or is it somehow figuring out how to get the 95% of those small vendors on this platform, or something else for that matter?
Yeah, absolutely. For the vendors, this is a great opportunity. We don't charge for them to be on the platform. We consider them part of the product and solution that we offer for the customers. So we see ourselves as a support system for the vendors. They've been really eager to onboard. We wait to onboard them until we actually have material in their location, because we don't want them to come on the platform and sit there and wait. So as we activate a state, we've already been talking to vendors. They know who we are. They're ready to come on board, and so they come on board. The biggest challenge has actually been there's a lot of vendors who can't afford to become certified. They might be following the best practices, but it costs about $15,000 to obtain and maintain a certification every year. And so when you're talking small rural vendors, they put the money in the equipment, but it's, do we buy the equipment? Do we pay for industry certification? And there's not a national requirement for this. So if you're sending your e-waste out to a vendor, if you don't check if they're certified, they may be shipping that equipment, or it may end up in a landfill with your company's tag on it. So there's reputational risk. On the corporate side, we're getting a lot of traction. They're really focusing on reducing emissions. In the past, large corporations focused on how much money they got back. So a lot of corporate equipment is made with very valuable metals. There's a lot of gold and silver and copper in there. And so they were trying to see how much money can we get back, even if it's just shredded. And right now, that model is switching. So for the folks at the top of the corporation, they want our model because they want to reduce those emissions. For the folks on the ground they've got the vendor that pays them the most money, they're often the one that we're bringing them along, that we can do both. But that's really, it's both sides of the market.
Hi, great first presentation, and thank you for working on this problem. My question is about the consumer traction that you're getting on the business side. Are you finding that most of those corporates are already doing this and they're looking for better and easier solutions? Or are you able to tap into the large market that you mentioned at the beginning that aren't doing this or aren't doing it properly in the first place?
It's a very good question. So we have, with some of the large telcos that we're talking to, because there's 3 big carriers and we're talking with all of them, we're contracting with one, they're all doing this, but they're doing it with that regional model. So they don't know who the local vendors are because it's so fragmented, they can't manage the vendor onboarding, and do they have their certification? Did they get their certification pulled? So we're doing all that vendor management for them so that they can focus on the local solutions. We're also working with a lot of bigger organizations that have clients all out in the corporate community. Each one of those clients are smaller, and so they don't have a lot of e-waste, so they don't have the systems down the same way. They don't know what to do. We hear people who say, we just take it out and back and smash our equipment. And that's a really bad idea. Please don't do that. Or we take all the iPhones and burn them. If you've heard of burn pits, very, very dangerous. So there's really dangerous toxins in e-waste as well as valuable materials. And so having it disposed of irresponsibly is really dangerous.
Good job on your first presentation.
Thank you.
You mentioned other potential revenue streams for tech services and events management. Can you talk a little bit about that? And just as a percentage, as you're looking forward in your revenue model, how would that contribute versus transactions?
Absolutely. So when we talk about tech services, that's not us doing the tech services. That's actually us working with other vendors who do that. And a lot of that is, say a corporation has e-waste, but they don't know what they have. So they need to have an inventory of the materials so it can be bid on. So we can send out a tech team, which is a third-party company, to do that kind of inventory management and things of that nature. And then time's up, but I can answer that more later.
It'd be a relatively de minimis piece of the revenue. It would be relatively small as far as the percentage of revenue.
Let's hear it for RGX.
Sorry.
Up next, Little Sisters Treats.
Hi, I'm Zaire. And I'm Charlize. And we are Little Sisters Treats. When I was 4 years old, my preschool teacher asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said I want to have my own ice cream truck. And she's like, well, you can't do that. So I ran home and I told my mom. And she said, yes, you can, because no one could do what you do like you do it. I went into my room and I wrote down flavors on a piece of paper. Then I showed my mom again, and she's like, well, where's the prices? I asked the prices, and they were pretty expensive.
No one wants a $300 ice cream cone, am I right?
That's pretty much how my sister chimed in, because she chimes in on everything. Fast forward to 2020, and we met Sugar Sisters Bakery. They donated to us $1,015 for our legitimate business.
There is a lack of diversity in Colorado, especially in Denver metro area. And there is a lack of businesses being targeted toward children. And I know, because I'm black, I'm a girl, and I was only born in 2008. Nature of retail is changing.
But we have a solution. We have a large and loyal fan base. We've also sold treats at events and pop-ups. We're also on the Channel 9 News, and we've been on Good Morning America. We've also been on the Denver Post.
Our mission is to inspire other young girls to be their own CEO, or people.
And that's why we're an inspiration and we make great creation. What inspires other young girls more than seeing another child's face on their own food truck?
These are our cheesecake cones. On the right, you see our blueberry cheesecake cone. This is our specialty cone, and it is our top seller. There is only 1.4% of owned black businesses in Colorado. And there is room for us to make huge waves on that alone. Kids under 18, 4 to 18 are 21.4%, and parents who can't say no are 23.2%.
Our competitors are bakeries located in different spots like King Soopers and Walmart. We want to be like big box brands like Little Debbie and have our own name like Martha Stewart.
These are our products.
Our grandma is 86 years old, and she came down from Frankfort, Missouri, and taught us all about baking. These treats are doused in tradition.
These are unique and we've developed unique and suited logos for every occasion.
Like Easter, Halloween, and Valentine's Day. Go Broncos. This is our marketing plan. We've been on social media like Instagram and Facebook, where you can see all our newly posted stuff. And our website, just got newly updated, so you can see all of our seasonal items.
Our website is www.littlesistestreats.com. Our team for plan and staffing. That's me, that's my sister, and that's my mom, Marita Hawkins, also known as Momager.
We will look to hire our employees by posting on social media and Linktree. Our Aunt Georgie will be coming down from Hannibal, Missouri to train our teenage staff. And hopefully those teenage staff will become our future franchisees and bring Little Sisters treats all over the world.
Our mom, also known as Marita Hawkins or Momager, is highly experienced in hiring and will have input on us, the CEOs. Here's our menu.
We have jams, cookies, pies, Rice Krispie treats, and our Rice Krispie treats names are Birthday Cake and Oreo and Soul. And we have merch. No one can beat our merch. We have cups. We also have our own aprons that say Little CEO on them. We also have our own shirts.
Don't forget the cupcakes and cinnamon rolls.
This is The Press. We've been on Channel 9 News. We've also met the mayor. He said our treats were delicious, and he posted us on his own social media.
Last year, we made a $32,000 in sales and about $8,000, and we spent about $8,000 in expenses, which makes us have a 76% profit margin.
And that's why we're asking for $50,000, so we can buy our own food truck and hire our staff. And just for you guys to remember us, we will sing our jingle. 1, 2, 3.
Sisters, sisters, we've got the codes. Whenever you eat them, you've got soul.
Where'd we go?
Oh, no, we have to.
Amazing, and you've got the voices to boot. Wow, I was not standing up on stage at Denver Startup Week when I was 14 years old, that's for sure. Incredible.
No, I'm actually 13.
Oh, 13, okay. Even better. So I have 3 sisters, so I'm very curious. What are the challenges associated with working with your sibling? And do you think it causes any, longer-term challenges for the business?
No, not really. I mean, we get along pretty well, and we don't have any problems. We just work together, and if we don't disagree with each other, we'll make it work.
Also, my answer. We will work together in many ways. If she's not doing something, I'll fill in for her. So I'd probably work for 3 hours, and she will work for 2.
Amazing presentation. I can't wait to try the treats. Can you tell us about the people you're looking to hire? What kinds of jobs are they going to be doing? How much will they be working?
Their wages will be $17. We're looking to hire teenage staff. Their jobs will be like the cashier and someone driving our food truck when we're not there.
Great job. Great job. When you have your food truck, I'm assuming right now you're making all of your food at your home kitchen. Is that correct?
We also have a cottage law, so we can work in our home.
Okay. And so will you continue to do that when you have your food truck, or then will you exclusively make everything from your food truck if you're able to get that?
We'll be working from the food truck after we get it.
Amazing job, you two. Thank you. My question is what you kind of what your plans are for once you get that food truck and get the staff up and running. Where in the city do you see hanging out? Where are your customers? Where do you see the most potential in selling all your treats? Thanks.
I'd probably think at Denver 5 Points, because there's a lot of people down there, and there's a lot of people that would like our treats, because we've met many people there that really love us.
And we're planning on doing it near the Denver metro area and probably going to travel like everywhere.
I have a couple questions. One, I was going to ask if you had any gluten-free, and I saw that on your slide. Cupcakes? Do you have some gluten-free cupcakes coming?
Yeah, and we also have gluten-free Rice Krispie treats.
Awesome. And then my next question is, you said go Broncos, so when are we going to get our new quarterback to try your products? That would be awesome.
We've actually given treats to the cheerleaders of Broncos, and that's why we especially made a Broncos cone for them and a logo.
All right, let's hear it for Little Sisters Treats.
Ow, you're next. That hurt.
You guys did awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Up next, we have Imidax.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the organizers for this amazing week that you've put together. Very honored to be here. Very grateful to be the representative of the health tech community for Denver and Boulder. Some of you may not know this, but just this last year, Denver Boulder just entered into the top 10 in health technology, life sciences, innovation in the country. And we're not stopping there. I mean, we're going #1. So my name is Richard Wilsimski. I'm the CEO of Imidex. And Imidex is on a mission to save lives from lung cancer. Lung cancer is the biggest cancer killer in the world. It takes 2 million lives every year. More people die of lung cancer than the next 3 cancers, all combined. And this is the team that's going to change that. My name is Richard. I'm the CEO. I'm a data scientist by training and by practice. This is my second company. I had formerly founded Valen Analytics down here on Blake Street, built it up, and we sold it off to Insurity a few years ago. And during that period of time, I had a dear friend of mine that was a data scientist that was suffering from cancer. And he ended up passing away and leaving a young son behind. And with that, that kind of was the genesis of, the next chapter of my life was going to be dedicated to doing something to make the ultimate social impact and to save lives. Managed to surround myself with an excellent team representing all the key functional areas that we need at this stage in our company's life. We're in the business of making novel mistakes, not repeating the same mistakes that have made previously. And we're honored and grateful to have both Dr. Chopra and Dr. Agris on our team. Both are radiologist physicians that have taken AI-based computer-aided diagnostics through the Food and Drug Administration. So like a COVID test, you have to pass the FDA to be able to legally market and sell it. We also have my co-founder, Chris Sheen. She's batting 100%, or 1,000 average, I should say, if I was using a baseball analogy, in terms of taking medical devices through the FDA and through the rest of the world. So lung cancer is one of those insidious diseases that the big difference is when you are diagnosed with it. If you're diagnosed at stage 1 of lung cancer, you have a pretty good chance of surviving the disease. It's about 70 to 90%. If you're diagnosed at stage 4, it's a pretty grim prognosis. It's a 10% chance of survival. And unfortunately, that's when most people are diagnosed because that's when the symptoms start to develop. So if you start coughing up blood, it's a bit too late. And Jean is the reason why we're here. Jean showed up to the Brigham and Women's Hospital up in Boston, presented with a persistent cough. They took a chest x-ray, and on that chest x-ray, they were suspecting pneumonia with the persistent cough, and it was interpreted as normal. So here's a chest x-ray. It has a lung nodule on it. There's board-certified trained radiologists that do this day in, day out. They'll read on average about 300 of these a day. Does anyone hazard a guess where the nodule is? So this is basically what our technology does. It draws a little bound box there, a bounding box, where it calls to the attention of the radiologist, their eye, where the lung nodule that's suspicious is present. So just to kind of show you a little, like how subtle these things are, it's soft tissue, and there's actually a lot of things that mimic nodules. So like when you take a chest x-ray, if you've got a ponytail with braids, that braid could look like a nodule. Your nipples can look like a nodule. If a vein is turned sideways into the acquisition equipment, it looks like a nodule. And so as part of developing our AI and to improve the accuracy of it, we developed one of the largest databases of nodule mimics in the world. We've got over 20,000 annotations of nipple shadows and vascular mimics and what have you, as well as about 25,000 ground truth confirmed nodules. Here's a little better with a little contrast. So the case with Jean is more common than not. Over half of the x-rays that are interpreted by radiologists that are positive for a nodule are overlooked in usual care. And that doesn't need to happen. We've been developing our algorithms for the last 3 years. We just completed our pivotal clinical validation studies for our FDA 510K submission, and we were able to demonstrate that we were able to identify 81% of the nodules within chest x-rays. So over 30 percentage points improvement over usual care today. Chest x-rays, I'm sure most people in this room have had one of those in their lifetime. It's the most common radiological procedure in the world. We acquire over 1 billion of them every year. And if you can think about those volumes and correlate that to our total addressable market sizing, we're well over $1 billion in a worldwide total addressable market. And I might add that we're software as a service. And so as a result, we enjoy a lot of the gross margins that you would see as software as a service. So it's well over 80%, and it scales as we get more and more volume. So healthcare is a very different vertical marketplace than any other. It's multi-sided. You have a payer, you have a provider, and you have the patient. And I think it's obvious what's in it for the patient. If no one wants to have a lung cancer diagnosis, but you certainly would like to have a prognosis that you're likely to survive. For the payer, where reimbursement CPT codes, which are used to bill payers for, a CPT code has been established. However, reimbursement has not been authorized by Medicare and Medicaid. And they use a clinical utility measure called a QALY, a quality adjusted life year. And we compare favorably to other other cancer diagnostics that have achieved reimbursement. But most importantly for the provider, who's our customer, the hospital, whenever you miss a lung cancer patient, you miss the opportunity to save a life. You miss the opportunity to treat a cancer patient, and each cancer treating episode is anywhere between $80,000 and $160,000. There's 4 other companies that have achieved the standard of care in cancer diagnostics. All of these exited for over $1 billion. I'm honored and humbled to have the godfather of 2 of those companies on our board and as an investor actively working with the company. And so our strategy is to become the fifth standard of care. And the way we do that is basically you take an existing diagnostic, you make it better, you establish superiority, and then by doing so, by not using our software, you're practicing below the standard of care, exposing yourself to medical malpractice.
All right, let's hear it for Imidex. Thank you very much.
Yep. Is there a particular threshold percentage that you have to reach? You said your AI can find like 81% of those things. Is there a particular threshold you have to reach before you get approval to be able to use this technology?
It's a great question. So as part of our pivotal studies, we established acceptance criteria with the FDA. And you have to demonstrate safety and effectiveness to the FDA. And so we just conducted a study with UC Health. We took a dozen radiologists. We had them interpret a bunch of x-rays, and then they used our software. And we were able to reduce the misses of lung nodules by 40%. So, I mean, the answer to your question is we've met our acceptance criteria. We're just right now papering our submission to the FDA, and we're submitting to them on a week from Friday.
Can you talk a little bit about your go-to-market strategy? Are you trying to sell to hospitals, to private practices? Where would you want to start? What's your beachhead market?
Great question. So go-to-market is going to be going through channels. So every hospital has what's called a PACS system. That's what radiologists use day in and day out. And so they're all installed there. They all want to work with us. And so we're going to sell through the PACS systems as an upsell on an existing contract. They take 30% of the revenue share. We take the remaining 70%. And for us, that's a much more scalable solution, both from a business perspective and also from a market adoption perspective. We don't have to build a big direct sales force. Our channel partners will have that. And in terms of the IT implementations, we'll pre-integrate with these vendors such that it's, as far as kind of deploying into hospital systems, is going to be fairly seamless. Thank you for that question.
Can you speak to the product roadmap and I guess further use cases? Curious, you're focused on lung cancer. Is there any reason the product wouldn't work with other types of X-rays, and kind of how did you think about starting with lung cancer? Why?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I guess as a data point, it's a plenty big market just on its own. So Exact Sciences, which Stan Lapidus, who's on our board that I mentioned earlier, Exact Sciences IPO, their market cap is $20 billion, and they're focused on colorectal cancer. So we're gonna stay laser focused on lung cancer. We do have a roadmap where we envision optimizing the key decisions of uncertainty throughout the clinical workflow within lung cancer. And so ultimately we see ourselves influence decisions as far as what's the optimal treatment. There's a lot of very interesting immunological medications, as an example, that are coming out on the market that when they work great, like 20% of the time. When they don't work, you lose another few months. So, thank you.
Hi, Richard. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My question is about kind of deployment and adoption in the medical system. Is there training or in terms of kind of conducting any of the scans a certain way or reading the materials or processing the kind of outputs from the algorithm that you've built? What does that look like at the hospital level?
It's fairly simple. So radiologists are board certified and they're trained to look for this. So they understand the problem and understand what they're looking for. So the training is minimal. We spent, I think, 10 minutes with each radiologist that participated in our study at UC Health. And it's pretty simple. There's a box here. That means that box is suspicious of a nodule. Take a stronger look at it. And then ultimately the radiologist makes the final determination.
What's the competitive landscape look like in this specific market for lung cancer?
It's a great question. So there's only 2 other companies that have cleared the FDA for lung nodules within chest x-rays. One of them, Samsung. Everyone's heard of them. And Samsung, their indications for use is limited to their own chest x-ray machines. and they're not even in the global top 20 in terms of their market share. The other company is River Rain Technologies. I would characterize them as a legacy AI. They came before a lot of the kind of revolution in computer vision algorithms that have come around. They're doing fairly well. They're a worthy rival, but our technology is far more sensitive and far more specific than theirs is.
All right, let's hear it for Imidex.
Thank you.
And for our final pitch of the night, please welcome Mini Money.
Hey guys, my name is Lauren Jenkins, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mini Money. We're an education technology company that focuses on teaching students about the importance of financial literacy. This is where my financial education started. When I was 8 and my little sister was 5, we asked my mom to go out to eat every single day. She got fed up with it real quick, and she posted on the refrigerator a job opening for son and for daughter. Now we had to apply for this position. We were interviewed, she called our references, and luckily we got the jobs. Yeah, she's a nice one. So we got paid a salary every week, and then we had to pay for rent. We had to pay for transportation, and it was more expensive to go out to eat than it was to stay at home. So from a very young age, I was always taught when you get some money in, you take care of your needs, you save some, and then you have fun with the rest. Now, just from a show of hands, who here had a quality financial education in school? Yeah, not too many of us. And that's why 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. The statistic that is even more wild is that over a third of people making over $200,000 are still living paycheck to paycheck. So it's not about how much money we make. The problem is with our relationship with money and the way that we're taught or not taught to manage it. Now, if you couple that with the fact that the cost of living has skyrocketed, it's more important now than ever for us to explain to the youth why financial literacy is important. We, comparative to 1970, are making less money than we did then, but housing's more expensive, food's more expensive, healthcare's more expensive. Everything that we need to survive and thrive is more expensive, but our wages have gone down, which is why financial education and proper money management is more important now. So that's where Mini Money comes in. We combine technology and teaching to provide our students with a quality financial education. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is that we take the household economy that my mom played with me, we turned it into an app, and then we made a classroom economy for teachers. So students are going to come in, they're going to get a salary every week. They're going to have to pay for the janitor. They're going to have to pay for their desk rent. They're going to have to pay for lunch. We want students learning about money the same way that they learn to read, that they learn to write, that they learn about math. And that's every single day through experience and repetition. Now, we also partner that with workshops and in-person classes. Now, this came about because during COVID, teachers told us two main things. One, they're always looking for experts and guest speakers to come in and talk to their class. And two, most teachers weren't educated about money, so how can we expect them to teach about a subject that they were never taught about? Now, if you look at the financial literacy market as a whole, there are definitely other companies here. Now, there's going to be online software like Zogo. There's going to be virtual money simulations like the stock market game. Or Junior Achievement can come into your classroom and do a workshop for your students. But a lot of these are one-off events. And again, how do we learn how to read? From a very young age and all the way through school. How do we learn to do math? It's through experience and doing it over and over again. But for some reason, we expect kids to learn about money from a 2-day field trip. And it's not that these things are bad, but we want to make sure that students are taught about money every single day, because that's going to be one of the most important things for them to learn and one of the best skills that they're going to have. As much as everybody loves calculus, I think budgeting is a little bit more important. So the education technology sector as a whole is on the rise. 21 states have now mandated financial literacy be a graduation requirement for their graduating seniors. and that number has gone up every single year. Now you couple that with the fact that education, this is a lot to do with COVID, but the amount that schools are starting to go digital is increasing. So the amount that schools are starting to spend is supposed to double over the next 5 years. You also take education technology as a whole. There were $9 billion ed tech companies in 2020, and that number is projected to go up to 30 by 2030. And that's because schools move a little bit slower than everybody else, so they're becoming more into this digital age, and technology has become much more of a forefront, or much more of a problem for them, especially through COVID and with the hybrid models that's out right now. So our ask lines up very well with our business model. We make money from schools and nonprofits paying us for our technology and services, but we also make money from banks and credit unions sponsoring these type of events. Now, we're looking for $300K in seed funding, and that's gonna go directly to our technology. We want to invest to upgrade and rebuild the tech that we have in school for teachers right now and continue to build on the simulations so that we can build simulations for high school and college students. And then we also are looking for help finding a financial institution sponsor. So the main way that we work for banks, or the main way that we work with banks, is that banks have two ways that they'll work with us. Is they'll have CRA dollars, and that's the Community Reinvestment Act. So that's money that banks have to put back into their underserved communities. But then also it's gonna be general marketing. Small banks and credit unions will still spend $10 to $15 million to get people to open up accounts. But that's because most people don't trust banks. So everybody asks me all the time, what's Mini Money's 10-year goal, or what's the big thing you want to accomplish? And people laugh when I say this. But one day, Mini Money is going to be the biggest bank in the world, and it's because we led with trust. The financial institution, the financial sector as a whole, has such a lack of trust from from things not being so great through history, to put that lightly. Yeah. Yeah. So that if there was a company that educated an entire generation of youth on how money worked, who would you be more likely to put your money with? So my name's Lauren Jenkins. I want to thank you guys so much for having me here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mini Money.
Thank you. I think this is a topic I'm really passionate about, and I appreciate that you're making this, up to speed in the 21st century with the technology. The app looks awesome with what you've built. Question around, just your go-to-market strategy as you scale with these two different, you said the banks and the schools. How are you planning to tackle that? And then also, did you mention how many customers you have right now, or people that are trying out the product?
Yeah, so we've worked with 3,000 students over the last 3 years, and that's going to be in different capacities. We've had money running camps that we've hosted. We've had the classroom economy. We've had workshops. So we've been able to work with students in a variety of different ways. And so the go-to-market strategy is definitely going to be the classroom economy. So that's the thing that's been the easiest to spread, and that's what teachers have picked up all across the country. That's the least hands-on thing that we have to do, as much as I love teaching workshops and classes, and I think that's super impactful. But we want to get to as many students as we possibly can, and so that's why we're looking for the investment to rebuild our tech so that it's a lot easier to scale and we can have teachers using the technology. And then as far as the banks go, it's just as simple as making a sponsorship portal for them so that they can sponsor the classroom economies that we have out. So it'll make it a whole lot easier, and that's hopefully what the tech will do. Actually, that's what the tech will do.
Great presentation, thank you. Just a quick question following up on that around your go-to-market with the school districts. Who are the decision makers that you're trying to influence there? Is it individual teachers? Is it principals? Is it district heads? How do you kind of enter into that market? And then as a second part of that, I'm curious, in the districts and the schools that need this service the most, are those resourced kind of to the extent that you mentioned in your model, or is that also kind of part of the problem?
Yeah, that's a huge part of the problem. And that's why a lot of what we do is free or sponsored by banks and credit unions, because a lot of these schools don't have the resources, but low-income schools are going to be the ones who need to know about financial literacy the most. What was the first question?
Just about who are the decision makers if they are paying?
Yeah. So our customer and our user are going to be two very different people. So our user are going to be teachers. Our goal is to get an army of teachers, because in the education space as a whole, a quality technology product is going to spread itself. Teachers are going to talk, and they're always looking for new professional development and new resources to share. Now, once we get teachers on board, that sales process cuts down from 3 years to 2 conversations and a teacher being on your side. So that's when we go to talk to the principals, we go to talk to the community managers, the people who want to get those life skills in and those decision makers. But that's a whole lot easier when you have the teachers coming behind you and to say, yeah, we like this product, as opposed to me going to school district saying, hey, I'm great, come buy this software. So, yeah, which I do that as well, too. So, yeah.
Can you speak in some detail to the product that you will build out as far as, right now there's a lot of educational resources. Are you thinking wallet, savings, investment? What does it look like?
So I think there's a whole step of financial education that's missing. I tell people, if we can have a conversation about investing, you don't need to talk to me anymore. So once you have $5,000, cool, let's go talk about investing. But getting people to the point that they know how to make a budget is really what we focus on. So what we do is we build those financial simulations. So the financial simulations are just gonna start to get kids to understand the impact that money is gonna have and the decisions that they make today, how is it gonna affect your future? Because once we can get that across to them, then we can have a conversation about investing. But the problem isn't investing right now, it's that people don't know how to manage their everyday finances.
Yeah. You'll get that later. What age group are you targeting to start with? And as kids get older, does your programming or content change for those age groups? And I got a second question after that.
Okay. So the main group that we're gonna start with is middle schools. So I know there's a big focus on high schools right now, but middle school is that sweet spot between kids not having that same well-behaved as being in elementary school, but not quite having that real life of high school. I'm about to start at buy a car or go to college. So middle school is a really good place for teachers to use the classroom economy because it's also a good classroom management tool. So kids are learning through experience, but teachers are also giving out bonuses and fines, and kids will buy into that classroom management system a whole lot more because it's money. So a little bit too grown for elementary school, but a little bit too young for high school. And then what we ended up doing, and why we're trying to rebuild the tech, is that we then aged that up into 30, 40, 50-year simulations for the high school students. So my goal with the technology is okay, let's have a school year, and throughout the school year, you're gonna see what your 30 years is gonna look like. So you're gonna invest, you're gonna buy a house, and that's just to show okay, the decisions that we made at the beginning of the year are gonna have an impact at the end. So yeah.
Let's give it up for Mini Money.
You wanna wait? Yeah, we'll chat. Thank you.
All right, so hey, let's give another round of applause for all of our finalists. We're going to take a short break, so don't go anywhere. We're going to come back with the scores and announce our winners.
You want me back too?
Education, but I can see right through a powdered face on a painted fool. Let me slip through. Why you tryna hold me back? I'm just tryna move up front, little more this, little less of that. Let me come through. I'm tired of being in the back. I'm just tryna move up front, little more this, little less of that, yeah. They tell me I was born to lose, but I made a good thing out of bad news. I don't worry about people in my face. I hit them with the style and grace, and watch the ankles break. Whoa, whoa. I know you wish I would fade away, but I got more to say. Lord, they pray. Ow! Let me slip through. Why you tryna hold me back? I'm just tryna move up front, little more this, little less of that. Let me come through. I'm tired of being in the back. I'm just tryna move up front, little more this, little less of that, yeah. They tell me I was born to lose, but I made a good thing out of bad news. All day, all night, cost to be the boss. Paid the cost to be the boss. I paid the cost to be the boss. Look at me. You know what to see. See a bad mother. Look at me. You know what to see. See a bad mother. Paid the cost to be the boss. Paid the cost to be the boss. Look at me. Know what to see? See a bad mother. Huh. Told you so. Told you so. Having fun, got money fun. 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 'Cause I paid the cost to be the boss. Paid the cost to be the boss. Paid the cost to be the boss. Cross the tracks, turn my back, cross the tracks, turn my back. Paid the cost to be the boss. I'm a bad mother. I'm a bad mother. Head for the turnaround. Head for the turnaround. Told you so.
All right, Denver Startup Week, we have our winners. So first, in third place, with more than $5,500 in awards, we have Icony. Gotta come up and get it. Congrats, awesome job, absolutely awesome job. Thank you so much. Yeah. And in second place, we have Little Sisters Treats. With a package worth more than $6,500. Congratulations, great job, great job. And before we get to our first place, for all of our pitch competitors, Amazon has very graciously provided $5,000 in AWS credits. So please make sure that you go see Kate Barton afterwards, so make sure that you get those. And in first place, with a package worth more than $40,000, we have Ride IQ. Yeah, let's get all of our winners up here. Stand up. We'll get a couple pictures there. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Please join us at the closing party tonight at X Denver. Another big round of applause for all of our pitch competitors today. Incredible job. And thank you again to all of our sponsors, our judges, and all the volunteers who made this happen. Have a great night.